It was widely expected that industrial output would shrink in October, but the extent of the fall surprised many. Production declined more than 5% year on year, with a slump in key sectors such as mining and manufacturing. The data has intensified fears that the Indian economy is entering another slowdown.
Service industries, of course, they would be reeling under a lot of pressure. Then the retail sector would be reeling under a lot of pressure. There would be more and more slump down in the retail sector as well as in the service sector. Together with that, I would say that the agricultural sector and the tertiary or the secondary sector, the cottage industry and the handloom industry and the agricultural sector, the horticulture sector, all this would be reeling under pressure, and they would actually fall drastically, the growth rate. And in my understanding, there would be a negative growth rate in all these sectors.
At the macro level, production has declined due to higher commodity prices and weakening demand from developed markets. But the biggest worry remains high interest rates. Several sectors that depend heavily on bank lending have put their expansion plans on hold as interest rates have gone up 13 times in 2 years. They have intensified their calls for the central bank to cut or put a stop to rate hikes.
Monetary action of Reserve Bank or the central bank comes into play once they feel that the economy is overheated. Then they do the tightening of monetary policy. That's what has happened actually. I've been increasing the interest rates, and interest rates, there is one way of, one tool to control overheating of economy. And but the resultant factor sometimes, it slows down. The economy may slow down. That is the expectation of any monetarist actually. But sometimes it gets into negative because there are more factors getting into play than what we think at the time of applying the monetary tools.
The Reserve Bank of India is due to review its monetary policy on Friday. Currently, RBI's lending rate is at a 3-year high of 8.5% and borrowing rate is at a decade's high of 7.5%. Analysts say the rate cycle has reached its peak and the bank will keep interest rates on hold this time. But it is not likely to loosen its policy anytime soon as price pressures remain. Inflation has moderated slightly but still remains at elevated levels. Falling rupee has also added to the central bank's challenge of keeping prices steady. While banks around the world have started easing their monetary policies, the Reserve Bank of India is keeping a cautious watch. Damanjeet Kohli, Channel News Asia, India.